to disagree if it does not resonate with us. The topic for today is it Alexander? I don't know what your topic is actually today. It had in the topic.
Oh, yeah, it's called Listen to the Position of Your Intuition.
Listen to the position of your intuition. I like that. That's cool. It's my pleasure to introduce Alexander, and he has chosen to give his own little introduction to you. So come on up.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for choosing to be here. And not even just here at church today, but at this time of life. A little bit about me. Most of you already know. Life coach, energy healer, now getting into breathwork facilitation, and just doing my best to be of service to everyone who wants it or needs it, and in many ways that I can offer. So it's really a blessing to be able to do that. So my discussion today is really talking about intuition and how much it has guided me this whole year, more than it ever has in my entire life. And I think even more so than the synchronicities that have happened that have led me to where I can start listening to intuition even more. And it really all started like when I was in Texas, and when all the synchronicities had led me to there, then it felt like there was no more synchronicities to an extent, because I was just in Austin, just in this one community area. And then all I could ever do was just feel things. Just like, okay, like that person feels good to talk to, that person I maybe just want to stay away from, but still show them some love and compassion. And it really kind of really helped me just get more grounded and just be in this present state, and being able to use discernment just with the decisions I was making, not only for like connections, relationships, but also like with like diets and the stuff that I was really bringing into my reality. And then I started to see like my whole world shift. And then I'll be able to tell a few stories too. So there was, when I knew that some of my classes, like some had like low attendance, and I knew I could get more, I had like a subtle shift inside of me saying, okay, you got to like change the name of your class. You got to change your description a little bit. And I was like, okay. And then it all just got channeled through me. And then I changed it to alchemy, energy, and breath work. And then all of a sudden in the next class, 20 people showed up. And I was like, wow, it's just the word alchemy. That was it. And it worked. And that was really beautiful. And then just more things started to happen. More people started to reach out and book sessions, really a blessing. And then the energy started to get stronger. And there was a woman that I had seen around the community, and I was like, wow, I really got to talk with her. Like I knew there was something strong about it. And my intuition's like, now's not the time. I was like, but she's like 10 feet away from me. Like I could just go up and talk to her, and like, nope, not yet, just wait. It's like, okay. And then 2 weeks went by. And then I found out that I had a few friends from Arkansas that were coming to visit in Austin because they had an event. And then they were like, hey, let's grab some lunch. It's like, okay. And they're like, hey, we have a friend coming with us too. I said, huh, okay. And then they show up, and then they show up with the girl who is in the community that I've been seeing the last 2 weeks. And then I had a wonderful like 2-hour-long conversation with her, and like we really connected, did energy healing, and it was just absolutely phenomenal. And we really started to connect more dots about just energy, consciousness, and healing, and just having like more clarity so we can ease our journeys even more. So that was really beautiful. And I was like, okay, intuition was right. All I had to do was just wait for that right moment. So I remember, and sometimes like when intuition will come to you, like you'll be in like different states of consciousness. Like I remember like I was so tired, like one day, like I had to take a nap at just 2 p.m, like on a Tuesday, just totally random. And I was like, I can't deal with this. And my one friend was texting me, messaging me about all these things. And she's like, can you tell me like why I'm feeling this way? And I was literally just about to pass out and take a nap. And I just said, it was something about giving birth. And then I slept for the next 3 hours. And then like when I woke up, I get a message from her, and she's like, hey, like It was about when I had birth with my children. Like, she had to get a few C-sections and just so much trauma behind it. And, you know, even like when I wasn't trying to like think or just, you know, like use like logical sense, just the first thing that came in was just giving birth. And then there was another time like where it's really funny. Some of these times I've been super tired and intuition just comes in strong. I had like the longest day, like 3 sessions, and just like driving to all these places and waking up early. And I was supposed to do like a sauna and a polar plunge to hang out with more friends. And I'm like, hey, I can't do this. I got to go home. And I'm driving home on the highway, and I'm in Austin. In this moment, I got this download that says, go to Hop Dottie Burger Place. I was like, this is so random. What is going on here? And I was like, why do I have to go here? And like, you have to go. And I was like, but which one? There's 10 locations in Austin, Texas. Where do I go? And they're like, the one closest to your house. And I was like, oh my God, it's like 7 minutes away. It's not far. So like, I'm about to get off the exit, and I'm like, nope, I'm too tired. I don't want to do this. This is crazy. And then I got this heavy sensation just all throughout my torso. And I'm like exhausted. And I'm like, all right, I'll go. And then I got back on the next exit, and I felt a little heightened in energy, a little lightness in me. And I was like, okay, I think I can do this. And then I get to Hop Dottie Burger Place, park right in front of it. And all of a sudden, I see my buddy Abe just casually walking right by. I was like, Abe? He goes, hey, Alexander, what are you doing here? I'm like, you first. What are you doing here? And he goes, well, my car broke down, and I'm just like waiting for a tow. And I'm just like, oh, wow, I'm sorry to hear that. And he goes, yeah, so what are you doing here? And I was like, you're not going to believe this. It's like, it just got this message telling me to come here just internally, and now I'm here. And then he ends up buying me dinner, go to this Turkish restaurant, delicious. And then we start talking about like my experiences in life with energy, synchronicities, healing, and all that. And he's a young guy. He's like 23, going on 24 years old. He has graduated from college, full-time job, you know, working in tech and everything. And then I drove him home, gave him a 15-minute energy session. He loved it. And then that was the end of the night. And then like 4 days later, I get this long text message, like absolutely just a behemoth of just words. And then inside of it was, hey, I just quit my job, and I'm going to become a full-time yoga instructor and then get like a part-time job on the side. And I was like, holy cow. Like a part of me is like, yes, let's go, man. You broke the matrix and you're doing things for yourself. And the other part of me is like, does he really know what he's getting into with this? Like this whole other side of life. And he's been doing really well. I keep in contact with him at least a few times a month, not only because I feel obligated for changing his whole life, but because I do care and I want him to do well. And his soul is very gentle and kind, and he's able to change lives too. So you'd be really shocked when that intuition can really like come through, even just like in the weirdest of times, even in the happiest of times. And I'll finally actually say something of the happiest of times. I had like an amazing day, like from start to finish, just classes, conversations, and food, just absolutely amazing. And this will get a little graphic, by the way, a little sad and a little violent, but so like I was about to head home, and I wasn't tired, but I was like so high on energy just all day. And it's like 9:30 p.m. And I get this download that says, go get an acai bowl. And I love acai bowls, one of my favorite things, but all the places were closed. It's like past 9 p.m., but there was one place that was open called the Acai Bowl Factory. And I'm like, okay. So I go here and I was like, yeah, I'll treat myself. Why not? And then I get in, buy it, and then I walk out, and then all of a sudden I just hear this loud crash. And I was like, oh crap, this is why I came to get an acai bowl, right? Crap. as soon as I walk out, that happens. And then I see a car crash. And then I was like, okay, I put my SIB on the car and I walk over. And then as I'm like, and it's like it's like blocking the entrance and the exit. And there's like two cars, and I see like this one guy like get out of the driver's seat, and he's like screaming and yelling, and then I see like this other guy, pedestrian, just like run over to the passenger side, and I can just like see him like running, and then he's like hugging this guy. And I was like, oh my goodness. And then as soon as like I walk up there, it was a drunk driving accident. I totally smell alcohol and everything. And the one guy's going crazy. And then the other guy in the passenger seat was totally unconscious, coughing up blood and like having a seizure. And the only thing that I could do was place one hand on his shoulder and then the other hand on the other guy's shoulder. And then the guy looks at me, who's holding the guy in the passenger seat, and he's like, it's like, what are you doing? I'm just like, we're doing exactly what we're supposed to do. And then he just had like this like weird like epiphany like look on his face, and he goes, I trust you. And I was like, yeah, we got this. And then we were there for like a few minutes, and then like cops and everything came, and then like I got the download that I was supposed to do like a spiritual soul revival for this guy. And it was really intense, even though like on the inside, I'm like, okay, we're here. But, you know, maybe on the outside, I'm kind of like a little shaking, a little like concerned, but yeah. And then ended up leaving. And then I had to do so much releasing. I felt like I cried for like 2 or 3 days, but I did get the download that guy ended up living. And then as long as timelines and choices are still aligned with him, then he should be able to live a better life and then leave all of those things behind and continue something even better. So that was wild. I didn't expect my intuition to lead me on that path. Yeah. So, and then I ended up leaving Texas, going to Colorado, and then like that was a fiasco, because I'm like, wow, everything's working out perfectly for me in Texas, like being of service and creating abundance and community. Now I just have to get up and just leave all that, for Colorado. Like, what's there? And then they're just like, more internal healing for you. Just more deeper layers for you to get rid of, to really alchemize and release and then integrate more. And then that really helped. That helped so much. I got more honest, more vulnerable with myself, and really just being able to become lighter internally, and it's changed my life. And then here's where something crazy happened. I was in Boulder. I was on top of a mound, and I felt this like piece of harmony. Like I felt like a cloud just on top of like this tiny little mound. And it says, okay, stay in Colorado longer and don't go back to Texas. Like you have a little bit more healing to do. And like, that was basically it, in some other words. But then as soon as I get back to my car in the parking lot, I see 2 cars parked right next to mine with 2 Texas license plates. And I'm like, because I followed synchronicities for such a long time, and then I'm hearing the voice telling me to stay, but this other reality is like, Texas is still there. So then I'm like, oh my God, this is, making my mind go crazy. Like, what do I choose? But that voice that felt light and right allowed me to stay there and do more healing. And it was worth it. Wow. Okay. So, and then now consciously being back in Ohio, and it's been good. Just been very different, finding a groove and trying to figure out like, what can I do, to really, plant here? Because a part of me really wants to go back to Texas, but it feels like my soul wants to be here to really help heal Northeast Ohio to the best of my abilities. Even though Texas looks pretty great, logically and like logistically for things, but there's a little bit of a greater challenge here that can be done. And I'm willing to do my best to see what else is possible here. if for some reason it doesn't work out, that is okay. You know, it is okay. You just kind of retrack, take a few steps back, regroup, and then just reform. And things will always find a way of working out. They really do. So trust the voices that you hear. And if you do question it, it is okay to pause. The answer will come. Usually the first one. Usually. And if you still question it, then just meditate on it, let it go, and then just ask for more guidance. It's like it's one of the best things that I could have ever had experienced, and it's changed my life. Okay. I think that's about 15 minutes. So, okay.
Any questions for Alexander?
Questions, comments? I said,
use your intuition.
she raised her hand first. I'll go with that.
I'm real curious about the word position.
Position.
Why did you use that word? What about the position?
Well, I got the inspiration from a rapper, Biggie Smalls. He says, play your position. Here comes my intuition. And the intuition is a position, a role playing that you can do, that you can use to make better decisions in this world. Yeah. Does that help? A little bit? Okay. Yeah, I just think of it as playing a position like in sports.
Sure.
Yeah. And that's how I can act and make decisions and move. And yeah. Cool. A good question. I like that. Thank you. Yeah. Andrea's next.
Okay, so I'm kind of, it might sound jokingly, but I don't mean it, but I love your influence, the power of your influence. So how soon can you start like becoming a senator and run for president? I'm not kidding. You've got some phenomenal influence, and your desire to help things, is amazing. But we need people like you in government, really get things going and balance. The energy is so freaking there. But you have that ability to, and I can see why Northeast Ohio feels more like a challenge. I've always felt Northeast Ohio. This area is a challenge energetically. There's a lot of resistance. There's a lot of, I can't even put my finger on it for a description, but
it's like it's like people like want to take like a dose of it, like being in like 5D and like those high energies, and then sometimes they get afraid of it, or they don't think it's sustainable or real most of the time, then they kind of retreat back.
Or then you have segments that are think that they're right and there's no other right in the world, and they don't leave them room to evolve as much as they could naturally as a human would. So I can see, but I mean, I know that sounds like a joke, but I'm really not joking. I mean, I'm not saying go be a senator, but I'm saying you have that influence in those areas that it's complete complement. We need more folks like you in places of government and things like that.
Vote for Fox. Vote for Fox.
So I mean that in a very positive way.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. And one thing with the people who always say like, oh, it's, like I'm right, there's no other way. One way that we can really get to them is bridging the gap of science and spirituality. Because when we can do that, that really will open up their eyes. Because like I've met people along this journey, like where like they used to be like atheist or like Mormon or something like that, but then like something happened, and then it just got them to be like, wow, there is more to this world, and that like meets the eyes, and then they finally realize, in some way, shape, or form, and then their whole life changes. And then, but people do need logic with things, like my dad went to Yale, and he told me years ago, like, I don't believe in the stuff that you're doing. It doesn't work, and then this past summer, 3 days in a row, received energy healings from me after his shoulder surgery. And then within 3 days, all his bumps and bruises were completely gone. And then he was telling his friends and family and stuff. And I'm like, wow, this math and science guy who would never want to like open up to anything like this now has capacity to, you know, to bring in more of like, I can learn from this. So, yeah. Oh,
I'm trying to put my.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Carrie, go ahead.
I put my
Raven, you're next.
together, but you know, you're talking about Northeast Ohio, and then you said it too, and it's like there's a reason that we're all here in Northeast Ohio and called to this specific location, and then you're talking about the science and the math, and I think that's part of it too, because it is so heavily, densely concentrated with that. And when we look at like the United States and we look at America, we are literally the heartbeat.
We are.
And when you look at Ohio, and so there's a reason. Like I'm like, when I was young, I'm like, I have to go to Cleveland. I have no idea. All my friends went to Pittsburgh, and I went to Cleveland. Like I can't explain it, and I'm like, I'm so alone, you know, whatever. Like there's a reason. And just when we feel Cleveland and Northeast Ohio, we are the heartbeat. Like there's a reason that you came back here. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you too. Yeah, there's many reasons. Not just one. There's many.
Yeah,
there's so many. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
The heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you, Gary. Thank you for that. We were coming back from New York a couple days ago, and I saw, you know, the sign coming into Cleveland, the heart of it all. And when you said that, I just thought of the drum circle and how we sort of create that.
Beautiful.
But Alex, thank you so much for your time. I didn't even know you were speaking today, but I needed it because I was thinking as you're talking, I remember you sharing these stories because you would call me up and be like, what am I supposed to do? And I'm like, listen to your spirit.
Yes, that's true.
Listen to your spirit. And I'm in the process right now of, I've been guided to leave the salon I'm at, which is a great location, but it's interesting because it has an upstairs and there's like a door that has no steps. And even when I went in there, I was like, this door doesn't lead anywhere. So I know it's time to go. The universe is pushing me out. They brought in a couple other people and the whole energy's changed. And I liked it, but I haven't loved being there. But I've been the last few weeks, all this anxiety because where I'm going is a little further outside the village. And I've been doing hair and chagrin for 20 years. And I know people are going to follow me, but I mean, there's still that like anxiety. And I actually dreamt about you were in my dream 2 nights ago, and I was moving, and so this whole synchronicity of you coming in and this talk and this, so yeah. So I appreciate your talk today. It's more confirmation for me that yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be making this move. I just need to relax into it instead of putting up. And I tell people this, it's so interesting because we tell people this all the time, right? I'm like, you're putting up resistance, you're blocking I'm telling it to you.
Yes.
But for me to do it for myself, it's like, I have to remember that it is okay. And and the synchronicities too. I was in Jason's the other day doing a massage, and I'm like, well, I could talk to Jason and change this room around. And I go out and someone had a dog out there, and the name of the place I'm going is called Alley Cats. Which is a cool name, but
is that
so I go out and someone has a dog, and I'm like, oh, what's your dog's name? Allie. And then my next client comes in, and this place is right past Auburn Lakes. And my next client comes in, and she's like, oh yeah, I just sold my house and I'm moving and all this going on. Where are you moving? Auburn Lakes. I'm like, all right, I got nothing. But it's still, I'm putting up resistance, so I need to relax into it. So your talk really helped remember that. So thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. And
I'm glad you're here.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm happy to be back. And one more synchronicity to add to your story. I just went to dinner 2 nights ago at the place downtown called Alley Cats.
Did you?
Yeah. That's awesome. Right. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Yes.
Yeah, just want to affirm, listening to your talk and your feeling your presence. I feel it in the soles of my feet really strongly, and I feel it that you're walking your path. Putting out that kind of energy, and also the just the whole breathing, like the pulse and the breath and timing. Where I noticed it in your story is like you have times when it's like, not now, now, not now, now. Like you have this sense of time. So your presence it can be felt. You know? Thank you for being yourself. Yeah, stay here.
And run for office too.
I'll look into that. I don't know how that could happen, but we'll see.
I keep getting messages because I registered to vote where I grew up in Ashtabula, and I keep getting messages. They need people in office in that area.
Yeah, no, we do. Mm-hmm. I mean, like everywhere with people like this. There was, I can't remember exactly who said it, but they said that, you know, like people like us, we can't afford to like just sit back and wait. You know, we do have to take inspired action. And, you know, people like us do need to run for office and just do our absolute best, you know, just. Oh, yes. Yeah, he's a big timer downtown. Yeah. Actually, it's funny. I met Dale even before I met him here at the church. My uncle and him went to high school together. And I used to be heavy into politics. And my uncle's like, I know a guy named Dale Miller, works downtown. And I actually met with Dale like one time, had a beautiful conversation with him, but I wasn't spiritual at the time. So it's funny how it comes full circle. So, yeah.
Any more? Because if you don't, I have a couple comments. So.
Oh, yeah, by all means. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you too. I think
you're an inspiration. My thing is, though, I think that especially men and actually women just as much now, because parents are looking at their daughters differently. You know, they think they need to do as much as a man does. You know, you have to be equal to a man. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but with all that comes a lot of logic. Like, you know, people say, you know, we teach our kids, at least my generation, I think we messed up our kids a little bit because we taught them to think about all your decisions so carefully. You know, it's like whenever you make a decision, make it very carefully because of the outcomes. Well, as a result, you know, they don't follow their intuition because they're so busy thinking of the outcomes of what it is.
Yes.
So my question is, other than being an example, which you're a great example, and I think probably everybody in here is an example, how can we get people to follow their intuition a little bit more? Because I think society's been taught to think about their decisions so carefully, and intuition and thinking about your decisions, they go a little bit together, but not a lot together, you know? So.
Yes. Actually, it's funny you bring that up. Like I had a beautiful opportunity on Friday to like do guided meditations and energy healings and messages for a buddy of mine who works at a nursing home. And like, wow, it all looked great. And I got paid very well. My intuition's like, don't go back there. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It was so good to be true, you know, but like, it was just the feeling of like, no, it's, you know, and it's just really being able to like kind of slow down. And sometimes we don't need to know the answer why, you know, for things. And we have to be okay with that. And that was something that would drive me crazy in so many different ways. I'm just like, but why? Like, I need to know like everything, you know, like as much as possible so I can make other decisions and look out for other things. And it's just like, if you actually have the choice, like just, if you just accept it faster, then you don't have to worry about everything else. But like, just like, you know, meditation and like breathing and finding stillness and silence, you'd be surprised. It's really hard for a lot of people to find silence in day-to-day life. Like it's really hard. Some people just can't do it. So but it is a lifestyle to be this.
And it's difficult to get people that aren't accustomed to it to even think about it. I have two of my sons meditating, but husband and other son, no.
In due time.
But,
and community helps too, when we can find like-minded people who also do the same thing. Like that really does build the vibration and like the frequency with it. Because like when I was in Austin, I felt like my intuition and like manifesting was just so like easy. And, you know, like if you can manifest a taco, a dessert, and a juicer in like a half hour, sitting at one table with like 5 friends, like that was the magic that was happening there.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then, come back to Cleveland and it's like, okay, and I got to like regroup and then like really find my own energy again and then like create my weather and then share it with others. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, too.
All right. Let's see. To usher in our time for healing, truth, and messages from Spirit, please rise and sing our next song, which is Holy, Holy, Holy on page 33.